G'day guys, so today I've got a great bit of kit to review for you. I've been wanting a decent pair of boots for quite a while now to replace my ill-fitting high-tech altitude boots. Now, after doing quite a bit of research, I finally decided on a pair of HANWAG Tatra GTX boots. I'm very particular about what I like in a boot, such as being full leather with no bits of cordura, which is harder to clean mud out of. Also as few seams as possible, again easier to clean. I really like the rubber protective rand around the lower parts of the leather near the sole. The obvious criteria of fit and functionality is very important also. And the Tatra seem to tick nearly all of these boxes. This pair cost me about $300 New Zealand, delivered from Germany, which is about half the price of what you get a high-end boot for here in New Zealand. So it was well worth waiting for the shipping time. I took a bit of a leap of faith ordering these without trying them on. However, I was quite impressed with the Lowa brand of boots, and having tried those on in a shop here, I was fairly certain that I wasn't going to end up with a lemon. This model is the little brother to the well-known Alaska, which is a fairly recent arrival to the New Zealand market. But at this point the Tatra hasn't appeared anywhere here yet. I couldn't find any at the local shops near me that stocked any HANWAG boots at all. Only one or two shops down south had them at the time of this review. The HANWAG Alaska is the cousin of the Lowa Tibet boot, and Lowa is fairly well established as a premium brand here in New Zealand. I wanted to do a video review on this boot, as when I was looking for an in-depth review, there are only a few and none in English, so I'll do my best to give you a good insight into this boot. Most people have heard of Lowa. Well, the guy who started Lowa, Lawrence Wagner, had a brother called Hans Wagner who started HANWAG. They lived in Germany and were sons of a shoemaker. They started their respective companies making hiking and ski boots in the early 1920s, and thus began a pedigree of excellent handmade boots. Later on, Hans's nephew Joseph joined him, and later took over the company. HANWAG employ cutting-edge technology and techniques with their selection of modern products and the manufacture of all of their footwear. All of their craftsmen and women take great pride and care in everything they do to make sure that the end user is very satisfied with the product. When I tried these on, my feet felt very comfortable and supported with no hard spots anywhere. They have also got factories in Croatia and Hungary, in towns that also have a rich history of boot craftsmanship, so the brand ideals of high quality are not lost. This particular boot was made in Croatia. When choosing a brand of hiking or hunting boot, don't do what I did the first time, go cheap and cheerful. Believe me when I say that I wasn't very cheerful about 4 hours into a 2-day hunting trip, and by the end I had black toenails from where they were rubbing on the front of the boot. It's totally worth spending more money and getting something really decent. You're spending many hours and kilometres or miles on your feet, so you need to really take care of your feet. When choosing the size of your boot, make sure it fits snugly everywhere around your foot, not just the ankle, so your foot doesn't slide around inside. With about a thumb width of space between the end of your boot and toes, usually the big toe is the longest. A good rule of thumb is one size up from your regular shoe size, assuming your day-to-day shoes fit properly, of course. That's a mistake I made with my first pair of boots, which led to my big toes getting mashed when walking downhill. Unless I wore a thick pair of socks, my feet would slop around and rotate inside the boot, and even with the thick socks it wasn't great. The Tatra, however, is snug everywhere up to the toes, where there is a nice little bit of space for them to wiggle around a bit. The Tatra comes in quite a few variations, which are the GTX GTX model. If it doesn't have GTX in its title, it will be leather lined. They have the narrow, regular and wide fits, a taller top model, Also a bunion model, which is designed for those people with bunions to be wider in that area of the boot only. and of course men's and women's in all of the above. So just about every foot is catered for with this one. Gore-Tex will dry out quicker and be more waterproof and wick away moisture better than the leather-lined ones. However, the leather-lined is said to be a bit more comfortable to wear, conforming to the contours of your foot a bit better. They only seem to sell wide-fit boots here in New Zealand, as that is what fits most people. However, I have a narrower than average foot. So this is the regular fit Gore-Tex boot. HANWAG have an index rating for their boots based on support and stability, and strength and flex of the sole. The Tatra model is in the B class, having a bit more flex in the sole than the Alaska, which is in the C class. I noticed a few people online found that the Alaska was just too solid for their style of hunting, having a slightly stiffer shank plus the full rubber rand, and having tried the similar Lowa Tibet in the shop, I'm inclined to agree, as I'm probably going to spend more of my time hunting hills and forest rather than Rocky Mountain type terrain. The Tatra is a fair bit lighter than the Alaska, at around 730 grams per boot, size 7 versus 875 grams in the Alaska. On that topic, when they say a boot's weight is XYZ, a manufacturer will often weigh their smallest size, so be aware of that. The quoted value may be a good 200 grams lighter than your particular size that you buy. My US size 11 boot is 880 grams per boot, for example. When looking at the flex of the sole and trying on a boot in the shop, remember that you could be likely to have an extra 20 to 30 kilograms of backpack and meat on your back, which is going to add to your weight, and you need a boot with a good shank in the sole that is going to support your feet with that extra pressure. You will end up straining your feet and getting very sore, particularly in the ball area of your foot, by the end of a long day, without that support. I won't go into all the individual details of a boot's construction, as you can read all of that for yourself on the website, and I'll post a link to it in the description if you haven't been there already. I'll just show you what I think of the main bits, starting with the sole, which is of the Vibram variety, very strong and trunky, and a great pattern to it, which looks like it should be very grippy up and down slopes. The internal stiffening shank seems to be just right for what I like, and it also has a shock absorbing area in the heel. This boot is fully resolable, so when it's worn out you can get that done, as the leather should have quite a few more years use left if you've taken care of it. The leather is premium nubuck with a hydrophobic treatment right out of the box. I also bought a tin of their leather treatment wax, which is made from beeswax. I've always used dubbin up till now on my boots, which is a traditional Kiwi leather treatment of choice. It's okay and it keeps the leather supple, but it's not very waterproof, and it's made from animal fat, which can encourage the growth of a wee microbe which eventually rots stitching and can get mouldy if left uncared for a long period. So I'll be putting on a good lather of this beeswax stuff on the boot, and we'll see how that goes. Inside the ankle of the boot is a strip of the leather lining you'll find on the leather lined model, and this feels really soft and comfortable. Onto the lacing system now, and you'll see the ball bearing loop points really are the bee's knees for getting it all tight with one pull. You then lock it off at the clamp hooks, and it won't loosen off as you lace up the upper hooks. You'll also notice that in smaller sizes, such as the photos on their website, there are 2 rows of upper hooks, whereas on larger sizes like mine, you'll see they have 3 rows. Alrighty then, that's enough of the indoors show and tell. Let's get outside so I can show you how they go on the trail. I need to wear them in a bit over the next few days, and I have a week-long hunting trip planned in 2 weeks' time, and I'll update you at the end of that to let you know my thoughts on their performance. Day 5 of my hunting trip, and I've been pretty much living in these boots most of the day, and I have to say I'm very impressed with HANWAG as a brand and this model Tatra as a boot. They've only gotten more comfortable. I haven't had to break them in as such, basically just wear them in, and yeah, they're just very comfortable and massive amounts of support on my feet, particularly from about here forward. There's a good amount of room for toes to wiggle around in, so they're not feeling all crushed in. My toes weren't hitting forward in the front of the boot, even down steep slopes and stuff as well, because all of the support inside the boot from about the front of the laces all back really clamps down on the top of your foot and stops it from sliding forward. And once you pull those laces in tight, it's just like a glove around your foot, and the laces don't come undone. Even smashing around in the bush, been up and down some pretty steep slopes, carrying deer on my back, probably 30 odd kilos, and the soles have been amazing. Good support on the base of my feet. So yeah, I've given these a fairly good run for the money. They're covered in mud and deer blood and scratches from different thorny vines and sticks and everything, and they've held up amazingly. And so big thumbs up to HANWAG as a brand and the Tatra as a boot. Hope this review has helped you in your decision. Please like, share and subscribe. Cheers.